you've been down 3-1 a couple times, but does it all feel similar to this? Do you use that, or is this kind of a unique situation to be down 3-1 right now?
You definitely use it as confidence that we can, figure this out. Obviously, just focus on winning Game 5 and take it from there. You can't fast forward to the end, but we have a lot of confidence in our ability to take the good things from tonight and protect our home court. So that's all you can do right now. You got to maintain positivity, and how tough this was tonight, but long way to go.
All right, listen, that's Steph Curry talking about the deficit that they now face, Natalie. 1-3.
1-3.
Oh, wow.
Feels familiar, doesn't it?
Okay, listen. Now, you know what? I don't know. Is it? See, I've heard Steph Curry give good answers before. Mm-hmm. They're insightful. I sit back and think about them like, oh, that's a good perspective. That was not a great answer. That was not a great answer because I don't believe Steph Curry and the Warriors. That's the Warriors, not the Warriors. The Warriors. They are a little worried. I don't believe they have a great answer for this situation. They're down to the late. They're down 3-1, or down 1-3 to be more accurate, to the Lakers in the Western Conference semifinals. Mm-hmm. Looks like the Lakers have their number, not just in this series. In the regular season, it was 3-1, and we're so used to saying, Natalie, 3-1 regular season means nothing. That means nothing. That is not predictive of what's to come in the postseason. However, in the last 8 games, Warriors, Lakers, the Lakers have won 6 of them. So are we starting to see a trend here, Natalie, or
no, I
am
still
I
think,
overstating it?
Yeah, I think it's being overstated because, a number of the players who are playing right now didn't even play in those games, and those games were blowouts. Okay. This series has actually been pretty close. I mean, each team had a blowout, but 2 of the games have been really close, right? So the teams are relatively even, but at the end of the game, the Lakers made the necessary plays that they needed to, and the Warriors didn't execute, and that's the difference, And so you have to credit the Lakers, for what they did, but I don't think this is a big, we got your number thing. And there's a number of things you can point to, candidly. You pointed out that Mazzulla, was maybe hurting the Celtics. I think Steve Kerr is hurting the Warriors, and you and I have had this discussion, throughout the season. If you look at the first half of the game, the Warriors won, I think they ran something like 24, 26 pick and rolls. They were leading. I don't want to say that they had control of the game because obviously they lost, but they were leading, and it looked like they had found something with Gary Payton II. And then they went away from it in the second half. And Gary Payton II, where was he? Sitting on the bench, watching as things unfolded at the end. And they went away from that. And you have to question, why did you do that? And I have my thoughts around it, but the point is just that this was not something that they figured out. It wasn't Anthony Davis and LeBron out there beating them. It was, and you got to give him credit, Lonnie Walker. And that's
Lonnie Walker the 4th.
Yeah, if you lose to Lonnie Walker, you just got to tip your hat, right? That's not something you can say anybody anticipated. You can't game plan for. That would be like us, pulling a rabbit out of the hat and taking someone off our bench and just like what we did with Jermichael. And I think Michael Smith came on here and said, that's not going to last for more than one game. And it's not, so, but you got to give them credit. The Lakers have had a player show up each game, and the Warriors have not had that. They had D'Angelo Russell, and then they had Lonnie. They also had in the last game,
so,
they have people that keep showing up.
Okay. All right, now listen. Steve Kerr has won 4 championships as a coach of the Warriors. Mm-hmm. He has. He took over a group that was ready to launch. Took that group over from Mark Jackson and got them across. Helped them get across that threshold to the championship realm. So you're saying Steve Kerr, if you had to break this down, because the headline, I don't know, I'm not putting these words in your mouth. headline read one thing, and we had that headline up there. Put that headline up there again. That's a pretty stunning headline, if you ask me.
Which
the headline
one?
says, Steve Kerr deserves brunt of blame. Wow, wait a minute. Steve Kerr deserves the brunt of blame for Golden State's 3-1 hole. Wow. Now that's saying a lot. I can't say that. I can't say that. Are you willing to go that far? They wouldn't be down 3-1 if they had a different coach?
I think there's a three-part answer here in terms of the blame, right? But I'm fine giving Kerr about a third of it. I am.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. A third of it, yeah,
and
sure.
I think
but maybe a third is still the brunt, though. Maybe you don't give everybody else above 33%. So maybe it's still true, but it just sounds better when you say a third. When I think of the brunt, I think like 70%.
70%. Yeah,
55.
no.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, you and I have talked earlier this year, right, on this show. We heard about the organizational failures in terms of, the ownership dipping a little bit too much into decisions and things like that. And a lot of that is part of what the issue is, right? Like, we've talked about the Warriors' arrogance. You guys have talked about the fans' arrogance. I've brought it up before on my own, right? So this is not, something that's new, but it's like them thinking that they could do the two timelines. It's just proving that you probably can't. Like, if Steve Kerr feels like he cannot play Jonathan Kuminga, and I would argue part of the reason he can't play Jonathan Kuminga is because he mismanaged his development. But if he feels that he cannot put a lottery pick on the floor right now and he can't go to any young guy, right, then that's organizational failure. That's roster construction, right? And that's part of the problem. So they also get a third of this, right? And then this is the part, Michael, that I will concede that I underestimated or overestimated.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Take your time here. Wait a minute. Give me a drink. Make it something strong here. Come on. Here we go.
Yeah, this is the part.
So you were saying.
Yeah, this is the part I will say that I didn't anticipate. So yeah, Lakers Nation is having a field day in my mentions and the BFA mentions because I called the team cute and you and Michael got on me about that. But honestly, like, I understand that, like, that was triggering for them. But what I said was not actually incorrect. You haven't had, like, AD having the same kind of game each game. Reeves, who's one of the role players you expected to show up, some of those role players, he had his first good game last night. All those things held true. What I didn't anticipate was Jordan Poole being a no-show.
Let's talk about
the Warriors not getting anything from anybody. And that's my point. Like, these teams right now are playing relatively close. So what happens if the Warriors just get something from one of their guys? And that's what I did not anticipate. And there would be no reason for me to anticipate that. And so I know you want to talk about that. So there's just one other point that I want to make.
Okay, go ahead. Take your time. Take your time. Since you're into confessions and admissions, sure.
Because
we got plenty of time.
You've been annoyed by Klay Thompson a lot this year and a lot of his comments, right? And and one of my feed items says Steph's teammates write checks that they can't cash, right? Because you always hear Draymond talking too. It goes through us, all of this stuff. And that's great. Draymond's always going to talk. But my point is, you don't really ever hear Steph saying all of that. He just goes out there and does what he does, right? And to me, in the closing minutes, it was the starters who were on the court, right? And Steph gives you a lead in the game. And Klay comes back and takes two really boneheaded shots. I mean, there's a video floating around somewhere with like a reaction of like Steve Kerr just like throwing up his arms, right? And it's like, if you can't trust Klay Thompson or Draymond Green when he gets a rebound with Dennis Schroeder on him to like not go up, and LeBron knows that, right? Like, they don't even look because they know he's not looking to score, right? You are not helping out your star player. And I think that Klay Thompson is so caught up in wanting to prove he still has it, in wanting to all of this stuff, And I understand
Yeah,
why
yeah,
he's
yeah.
caught up in that. But I think he's letting that override me making the smart decisions I need to make on the court. And what I always expected is that in the moments when it mattered most, that the logic would kick in. And it's not. And so that's what I did not anticipate.
Yeah, well, this is good. Okay, this is good, Natalie. I feel like we've had a breakthrough. We've had a breakthrough moment here on Brother from Another. This is a community. We're a different kind of show as a community, and now the community celebrates with you. This is a breakthrough on some of the flaws. With the Warriors. But I'm going to tell you this. That, you know what I really love about the playoffs? I've always loved this about the postseason. See, in the regular season, you can, and we all have this in us, we all have the ability to lie to ourselves day to day, just to get by, okay? We're going to piece it together. We'll lie to ourselves to get to another day. So in the regular season, you can lie to yourself. Hey, we got this little hiccup right now, but we'll figure it out. Once the postseason begins, this won't be a problem. Hey, once we get everybody healthy, we come together, and when it really matters, there's gonna be this cohesion, there's gonna be this fusion, and we'll get back to our championship selves. Well, here they are, the Warriors, down 1-3 to the Lakers. And some of the stuff that you're saying right now is stuff that has been said about the Warriors in April, was said about the Warriors in March, in February and January. They've been talking about this all season long. And I know, Natalie, not to quote you, but to quote you, at one point, pretty recently, you said that road record is fake.
Yeah, they just won 2 games on the road.
Okay, look, Natalie, the fact is, fake or not, in the regular season, they were 11-30 on the road. Now, that's not to say they got blown out by 50 in those 30 games, in those 30 losses. But there are 3 teams in the NBA with worse road records than the Warriors. They're watching just like us. Matter of fact, they're watching Brother from Another, and then they're going to watch the playoffs later. The Pistons, the Spurs, and the Rockets. Bad basketball teams. And the Warriors are not a bad basketball team. They're in the Western Conference semifinals, but they do annoying, frustrating,
They do.
dare I say, stupid things, especially on the road. Like last night down the stretch, you know, you're right about Klay Thompson. Steve Kerr tried to be diplomatic. He was not successful. He tried to be diplomatic in his post-game remarks. He said, I think Klay would like to have those back, but this is what we do. We're an aggressive team. We fire it up there, and we've had a lot of success doing that. So he kind of danced around the issue. But the issue was, you're right, Klay Thompson took 2 shots he shouldn't have taken. But beyond that, Steph Curry throwing the ball away. Their last opportunity, he throws it away. Draymond, not taking advantage of it. So it was a collective effort, and it's not the first time with the Warriors.
It's not, but you know what? At that point
that's why
in
I think they're in trouble.
They might be, but at that time, here's the thing.
Oh, they are.
No,
you
but
said might be.
No, because the series is not over yet. And here's the thing, Michael, like, it is. Like, but you know the reason why I'm not really even talking about the Steph, like, blunder at the end is because at that point, it's you're tired, you're fatigued, you're not thinking. He'd been playing the whole game, and that's what happened. Like, you did not give him the kind of team he needed around him, and we've been talking about that all year. So yeah, he made a blunder at the very end, but you know that happened, and so you have to own that blunder, and he did. And Klay Thompson said, I would like those shots back, right? But Steph had been hustling the whole game. He had a triple-double. He was doing everything in his power to help this team win, and not a single person came along with him. Not one of his, except for Gary Payton II. No one came along with him to help him. And so, you know, it is what it is. And I think that we have to be honest, you know, when we talk about that. And I'm sorry, like, I can't meet you on the road record thing. I'm not going to, like, examine a team's road record when like half of their key guys are out for half the season. So yes, that version of the Warriors wasn't going to win games. And if this team does not beat the Lakers on the road, then they don't beat the Lakers on the road. But, you know, there's still another game to be played, and we see it's 1 game at a time. It's not over yet.
It feels like it's over
I felt
not
like
just
it was
for
over
the
in
series.
2016, though.
But 2016, when they had 73 regular season wins. 73
Oh, I'm
wins.
not talking about the Warriors. I'm talking about it felt like it was over for the Cavs in 2016.
Okay.
Right?
Okay,
and then they came back. And we've already seen teams come back down 3-1.
Those are two. No, okay, that's LeBron at the height of his powers. That's Steph at the height of his powers in 2016. Those were teams that if they lost the series, and just so when the Warriors lost in 2016, they lost the finals. Nobody thought it's over now for this group. They had their chance. But Natalie, I'm telling you, if they lose this series, we know it is over. It's over because they've already made their decision. It is. They've already made their decision on the group. The core group is, I think you agree, is Steph, Klay, and Draymond. Well, if they lose the series, Draymond's gone, right? Draymond's not coming back.
No. First of all, no, and that's why that's the one thing. This whole like dynasty's over is premature anyway, in my opinion. Because no, it is.
No.
Well, we'll see because they're just gonna retool. Because let me tell you, with the Warriors, it's a financial thing. So they do want to get some stuff off the books, but I don't think it's going to be Draymond. First of all, Draymond has not earned a max contract, meaning he has not demonstrated to anyone right now in these playoffs to pay him the money he is seeking. So he still has an opt-in for next year. Let's be clear. He still has an opt-in. And the Warriors are already on the record saying that they want to keep him, right? So
so he's back. So you're excited about that?
I'm not. What I'm saying is I think this core is not, and we have the evidence and we have the data that shows that this core, this five, they are still one of the best starting five. It's not them, Michael Holley. It's the supporting cast.
Well, hold on. And that's the other thing. And I know we got
right.
company, and I'm excited. We're going to keep talking about this.
Supporting cast,
but you said the starting five. Who's the starting five?
Name
the starting five.
The starting five is Steph, Klay, Dre, Wiggins, and Loon. That's your starting five.
Okay,
right.
But see, that's the problem. See, right there. And that's part of the problem in this series. I wanted you to say that. They've already gone away from who they claim to be. Now, you told me at the beginning of the playoffs that nobody has beaten this crew. Can't anybody? Nobody can beat them in four games.
But they've always gone away from their starting five. That's not new. They've done it all the time. They go small, and when they do that,
temporarily.
But that's not a new thing. The issue is, Michael Holley, it's not the issue with those guys. The issue is with who they did with the bench. They have no front court depth. They went all young. They went all in on on their youth. So that's what it is.
That's not going to change, Natalie.
No, but that's
not going to change in a year.
No, but that is what they're going to change. That's my point. Like what I'm saying is someone is going to come off the books, but it's not going to be who y'all think. And they're going to use that to make a trade and retool the team. But that core as it stands, you can't say they're done yet because of one loss.
Well,
that's to be determined next season.
It's time.
All of this is premature.
It's time to start thinking about that conversation. Maybe it's premature to say it. Today is Tuesday. Somebody say Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. But it may not be premature.
Even if they lose, it doesn't mean it's over. Dynasties have a loss one year and then come back. Like, that's crazy.
Oh, no. This is they have
until Stephen
Curry. They're on the other side.
Stephen Curry has started to fall off and he's not playing MVP level basketball, you can't say it's done.
This is not young Joe Burrow in football saying, my whole career is the window. The window is my career.
Is Steph Curry still a top 3 player in the NBA? Is he still a top 3 player in the NBA?
You know I love Steph Curry.
I'm asking, is he still a top 3 player in the NBA?
3, you get the 3 fast for sure. Yes.
Okay, then you don't just blow it up.
But, hey, who's number 1? Who's number 2? It might be Giannis. Giannis is sitting down. He's a great player. He's sitting down because, as we bring it full circle, Stephen needs some help. He can do it. We ain't worried about him.
Yeah.
Nobody's worried about Steph. We're worried about the man who was talking to people as if he was Miles Davis. Y'all don't know about Miles Davis. He performed with his back to the stage.
This is all premature. It's all premature.
Hey, I've listened.
It's all
Jordan,
premature.
I've listened to Miles Davis.
It's premature.
You're no
I'm telling
Miles
you.
Davis. Come on.
Yeah, I happened to be in the locker room when Jordan Poole spoke. It's been a while since he spoke, and before we get to the words that he said, let me just paint a picture of what that locker room was like. So the Warriors PR was coming over and saying, Jordan, could you please talk post-game? He seemed a little reluctant. You could tell that he was very frustrated. He was facing his locker, actually. So as the reporters gathered around him, when it did become clear that he would talk to us, his back was to us. And so we're all kind of around to the sides of him. He turned his music off for us, but that locker room, a visitor's locker room, is really cramped. So when that music went off, all of the other players were listening as well. You could see, Andrew Wiggins, there was Looney right nearby, and then GP2 came to the locker. It was like all eyes and ears were on Jordan right there, and it just heightened the tension. So what did Jordan end up saying? Because we need to acknowledge that this hasn't been a great series for him, maybe not even a great postseason for him. Something has happened to his shot. It's just not there. We know that he has a good shot, but why is he struggling now? Why is he a little bit uncomfortable? Just reviewing some of the things he said, and some pretty short answers. My shot, I don't know. If I knew, I would tell you. He didn't want to talk about himself. He kept saying we have a game in a couple of days. I asked him, I was like, Jordan, we know your work ethic is good. When you feel like you're in a little bit of a funk, when things don't seem normal, what are you doing? Are you getting back in the gym? And he said, well, my work ethic doesn't change. My routine doesn't change. Maybe opportunity changes, but you can only control what you can control. So the frustration very clear coming through from Jordan Poole. And then when we all backed out, the music started again, and there was some tension-breaking laughter in the room.
Laughter in the room. What's so funny? The Warriors are down 3-1, Kurt Helin. And here's a stat for you. LeBron James, in his career, when his teams are up 3-1, he has not lost. He's 17-0. With a 3-1 lead. So, as I said to Natalie, Kurt, should the Warriors be Warriors? Is this thing over?
The way they looked last night, I don't see how they pull off 3. And I know that they were going to talk about it's one at a time. They go home, they get one, they get momentum. It's, in fact, like the exact same things LeBron James said in 2016 when they were down 3-1, right? Like, you can say all those things, but the Warriors made a great adjustment to start that game by starting Gary Payton II and having him cut and forcing Anthony Davis to come out higher, and it just opened up everything. Then, hey, to Darvin Ham's credit, and he made his adjustment back, put him on Wiggins, put Anthony Davis on Wiggins, and things just kind of flowed better for them. The other part of it is, man, you guys were kind of just talking about this. Poole hasn't stepped up. They got a little out of Moody. They're getting a little here and there. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Lakers are getting those performances going back to Rui Hachimura last series. Austin Reeves has found himself. There's a DeAndre Jordan game, and then Lonnie Walker Jr. last night. This is what championship teams look like, right? Like, I'm not saying the Lakers are winning it all, but teams making deep runs have role players who stepped up, and that just hasn't happened for Golden State.
Well, Kurt, let me ask you 2 questions. Well, one. Let me go one at a time. Because Michael and I don't know if you heard the end of our conversation, but is it over for the Warriors in this series? Maybe. I'm never going to say it's over till it's actually over. But the larger question we were having is, does that mean the dynasty's over if they lose this year? And I said, I think that's still premature to say. I think you have to see what kind of moves they make in the offseason and at least give them a chance to come back 1 year before you can declare that it's over. So I think that talk is premature. But, we'll have to see what happens for the rest of the series. They have a game coming back to Chase, so you see what happens.
There are hard questions for them this offseason, even if they come back and win this series, frankly. And I'm sure you guys got into it. We know Bob Myers is still their biggest free agent, and we'll see what happens with him and whether he comes back. I know you guys talked about the Draymond agreement extension / option year and how that plays out, and if there's much of a market. I think there's still, what's got to worry them is that there's a market out there. I don't know if he's willing to leave for it, but there's a market for him out there. And then there's the other issue, which is with the new CBA, which comes down hard on teams way over the cap like the Warriors, and it's going to be much harder to assemble what they need to do, which is they just need more athleticism. They need more role players. The kind of moves, frankly, the Lakers made at the trade deadline become tougher under the new CBA. And that's the kind of things the Warriors need to do. Because it's really evident in this series that their depth just isn't there for them. Like you said, I heard you talking, they bet on their youth, and it just hasn't panned out this year like they hoped.
Let's talk about that great report from NBC Bay Area and Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
Who, and his very awkward, tense exchange with the media, whatever it was. It wasn't rude, but just kind of something was off. And I think it's one of those things when you walk into the room and people have been talking about something and they don't want you to know what they've been talking about, that's kind of weird. That's what the media kind of walked in on. Like a family discussion, and then it got kind of awkward, and then it was back to business as usual as they were out of the way. But let me ask you this, just a pointed question. Did Golden State make a mistake by re-signing this guy? I mean, like, he's so inconsistent. Sometimes he looks great. Sometimes he looks like he did last night. I don't know what I'm going to get from him. Kurt, do you think it was a mistake to give all this money to Jordan Poole?
No, he's still young enough that, like, I'm just not willing to write off the he's never going to find it groove. But if you go into this offseason and you're talking about, well, we've got to make some structural changes, we've got to get this or that, that's a tradable contract.
Yeah,
there's a lot of teams that would look at that guy and go, you know what, man? This is the conceit of every NBA team. Frankly, let's be honest, this happens in the NFL. Yeah, he's not working in their system. But once we get him in our system, in our training program, everything will be fine. Once we get him in. So I wouldn't be shocked. I think you're going to find whoever is the Warriors GM is putting everybody not named Steph Clay in the conversation. Like, those two guys are coming back, and after that, I don't think anything's sacred. It's going to be a wild offseason.
I think Klay's in the conversation too, to be honest. I would actually think.
Whoa.
No, I do, but I don't think they're ultimately going to come off of that core. But that's who I was alluding to, Michael, when I said I don't think it's going to be one of the core people, because
I think he's just harder to move because of that contract. Like, he is supermax expensive, as he should be.
For sure.
But I know he doesn't want to hear this because he still has moments, but he is not consistently able to be the same guy. And he 3 of 13 overall, 3 of 9 from 3 last night. Steph was on a night did everything but hit threes. This was the game. How many Klay games have we had like this? We're like,
we haven't.
Doesn't matter. Klay's going off, and it's not this postseason.
Yeah, I think that I think so in terms of negotiating. That's probably will help them in terms of Dre and Klay, because neither one of them can make cases for like these contracts that they want in the future right now based on their play. So they might get more team-friendlier deals than they anticipated. But I just want to take a moment to talk about Jordan Poole, because this is also, Michael Holley, something we've talked about this season. And I've said more than once that we cannot minimize the impact of what transpired between Draymond Green and Jordan Poole at the beginning of the season. Yeah. I've said this more than once, and I've been dismissed, not by you, but other people saying, oh, no, I don't think that's it. You know, it's, and, you know, when people are just like, oh, he needs to get over a punch, he was assaulted by his teammate, let's call it what it is, and it was put on display for the whole world to see. That doesn't even, you have Twitter and social media talking about it constantly. That doesn't even take into account what players are probably saying to him on the court in terms of trash talk. This is a young guy. It is a young guy. And in fairness to Jordan Poole, the Warriors have yo-yoed him in this lineup. He has not had a defined role. They lost Otto Porter, which was huge because the lineups that Jordan Poole has been asked to carry for that bench don't suit his skill set, right? And then honestly, the Warriors wouldn't even be here right now in the playoffs if it wasn't for Jordan Poole helping them in the regular season with Klay Thompson to hold on while people were out. So he's
Look at those numbers, though.
Right.
Woo!
But what I'm saying is this is mental right now. This isn't a does Jordan Poole have the ability? That's not what this is. This is mental, and I don't think it's going to be fixed this postseason. But it is not fair, based on this, after he helped them win a championship, and we know all that he's been through this year, to write him off and treat him like he is worthless. I'm not saying you guys are doing that, but the way he's being spoken about, I don't like. So I will not do that. But I have said, you need to bench Jordan. It's time. He's needed, but he is not helping. So you got to bench him.
His bad decisions are on both ends of the floor, too. It's not just offense. He is making some horrible defensive decisions, some Jaylen Brown level bad decisions on defense. And I'm sorry, he's normally a good defender, and I just took a shot at him for no reason. Well, one reason. But you've got that on both ends. And that's, I think, where Kerr has really kind of struggled at times, is to find the balance that he was able to with Porter and, frankly, with Poole in a really defined role last year off the bench. He could put guys in and keep the offense going, keep the defense going, shift things around, but they didn't lose the connectivity. Right now, their defense, if it's all, look, he talked about it after the game. He kept Moody in to keep the shooting because they wanted that over the defense of Gary Payton II, which left Kerr open to the second, us going, yeah, did you see Lonnie Walker? Maybe Gary Payton should have been back in.
Thank you. That was a mistake. It was a mistake. They also went away from pick and roll. That's what was helping them. They ran 24, 26 in the first half, Kerr?
20,
and then
21 in the first half, 6 in the second half.
Right. It's like,
Ooh, that's not good.
This is coaching.
That's not good.
You're winning one way. They had trouble. They could not guard it. And the Warriors, it wasn't like a substantial lead, but every time they built a lead, it was because of that. And then you go back to something else in the second half. And this is why I'm saying at some point, we got to start calling out Steve Kerr for his stuff. He cannot just be the beloved person who was a media member, and we never criticize him.
He'll be called out. Look, they lose the series and the dynasty ends. He'll be called out. Don't worry. Don't worry. Hey, listen. And Kurt and Natalie, you know, in certain fan bases, if they don't win, they don't want their rivals to win. Like Dodgers, Giants. Yeah. If the Dodgers don't win, they don't want the Giants to win. If the Red Sox don't win, they don't want the Yankees. That, you know, on and on. We know that. Cubs, Cardinals. Now, just imagine if the Warriors lose this series and LeBron is still alive. Natalie, tell us the truth. If LeBron is still alive to win a championship and he wins 2 championships with the Lakers, and that gives him 5 to Steph's 4. Tell me you haven't thought ahead that far, and you are this is a disaster. It's not just the Warriors losing; it's losing to the Lakers.
First of all,
right?
I'm not thinking about that right now, because when the Warriors went up 3-2 against the Kings, you came back on here all smug, like, what you celebrating? Is the series over?
Right. That's right. That's fair.
And at the end of the day, we can say whatever we want, but and I think Kurt would acknowledge this. Like, Klay hasn't shown up, but what if you do get a Klay game? What if you do get a Klay game? Like, if they can come back and
next game's only game 5 though. It's not game 6.
But what I'm saying
we don't know about game 5, Klay.
Hold on.
It's game 6, Klay.
One game at a time. So if they can go home and get game 5, right? Game 6 will be the hardest thing they will try to do, and they may not win that. But if their guys happen to show up in that game, then it's still, these teams have been close, Michael Holley, this whole series. You're talking about just something at the end of the game. So to pretend like there's no shot, even if LeBron James have never lost a game 7 and they push it to 7 and they come back in, to just say like there's no chance they can push this, I'm giving this team still a chance.
You know what the best part of this, Michael, is? In a week, Natalie is going to be the biggest Jokic homer we've ever seen, right?
That's right.
If it's Jokic versus the Lakers.
But no.
Oh yes, I would. Yes, I would root for Jokic against the Lakers. Jokic, but the thing is, I don't dislike him.
But Kevin Durant versus LeBron, you got a problem. You got to.
It doesn't matter, because I would be rooting for the Celtics at the end of the day if my team doesn't come out. But I don't dislike Jokic. So we need to get these rumors. Like, that's how rumors get started. I don't dislike Jokic. I didn't think he should win MVP. So I would be very happy for Jokic if they went all the way, because I've always said, you got to prove it. And if he proves it and he does it, then that's what he needed to do. And shout out to him. But it will be a no for the Lakers, a no for the Suns, and a no for, like, hell no.
Yeah. Well, listen, Kurt Helin, in the interest of fair and balanced reporting, let's spend the last 35 seconds on Nuggets, Suns. Who do you like tonight? I mean, look, the Lakers and Warriors is just so delightful. It's irresistible. I respect the Suns and Nuggets, but it's just not the same. But who do you have in this game tonight?
I'll take the Nuggets. What's fun about Lakers and Warriors is not only like Steph and all the storylines and Steph and LeBron and all that. It's like a tactically interesting series. It is a fascinating chess match.
It is.
It's not tonight. It is not tonight. Hey, can Durant and Booker get close to 80 together? Because if they can, they can win. If they can't get close to 80, they can't. Like that is the whole story there. The Nuggets are better at home. I like their role players at home. I'll take Denver, but we kind of know what the magic number is. They've got to get more north of 70 from the big two over there, and then they got a shot.
What do you have for this series, Kurt, overall?
What? Before the series, I picked Denver in 7. I thought it'd be close, but the depth thing, when I saw them in person, when I saw the Suns in person against the remnants of the Clippers, I picked them before the season to come out of the West just because Durant, and then I saw them in person. No, I don't buy it. So I'm still not buying it. I still think Denver comes out of this series and probably comes out of the West.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Kurt. Appreciate you, man. And let's make sure that tonight in Denver, I think they're probably well-mannered in Denver. No owners. No owners. Look, the ball goes into the stands. Just catch the ball, toss it back. I'm trying to hold the ball.
Didn't Josh Kroenke play D1 at Missouri? He might have.
Okay. Yeah, but still. That was a long time ago. You got to move on from the other.
Didn't stop Ishmael.
You're telling people you're a walk-on. I played we don't want to. Nobody's here to see you. Just give the ball back. I'm ashamed of the NBA for fining Jokic. He had $25,000 fine for just trying to get the ball.
That's pocket change.
That's ridiculous.
Ishmael should have got 50 for that flop.
Yeah, right. Thank you. It's just the principle of it. Kurt Helin, always good to see you.
Kurt, bring the pool back. Bring the pool back.
I'll bring the pool back next time. And Jordan, if I can find him.
Oh, gosh.
That was too easy.
It's overcast and like 67, so it's miserable. It's miserable outside.
I think that we found the value in the grind of a regular season and a grind in the struggle, and I've said that repeatedly. We found a beauty in that struggle. But without that struggle, where we didn't have to find different solutions to win and different guys stepping up so that they had the confidence, for these kind of moments, if we didn't have the regular season, then you have zero chance to be able to do that in the playoffs. There was nothing easy about the regular season. There's nothing easy about this postseason. But if you can come to grips with that, it can make you collectively stronger.
Julius, you guys haven't been able to get the amount of offensive rebounds and loose balls that you were in the Cleveland series. Just what have they done, maybe to kind of beat you at your own game almost?
Just maybe they wanted more. I don't know. That's been who we are all year, and we got to find a way to, step up and make those plays if we want to keep the season alive.
Oh, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that they wanted it more. Julius Randle. The Knicks are also down, like the Warriors, Natalie. The Knicks are also down 3-1. This time to the Miami Heat. We thought that series would be interesting. It really is not what we thought it would be. Kelsey Nicole Nelson is here. And Kelsey, I put this in my feed that that Heat culture is a thing. Like this is if I had to name like 5 organizations, no matter who's playing for them, 5 organizations that I respect, they always give you a good effort, they're tough to knock out. Miami Heat are going to be in that conversation. What do you think it is about Miami that allows them, no matter what the obstacles, always to be that team that you're just kind of looking out for, even if you look at their personnel and go, I'm not afraid of that. They still find a way. What is it about them?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I'm feeling the Heat culture. That's why I had to do Heat culture red lipstick today, because we're believing in this low-seeded team, and they're obviously having their way. You know, I think Julius Randle said it best. They're getting outplayed, out-toughed. And that was something that we liked from the New York Knicks in the last series, right, against the Cleveland Cavaliers. But all of a sudden, Miami, I mean, playoff Jimmy, get buckets Jimmy, whatever you want to call him, helping to lead the way for the Miami Heat. And then Bam Adebayo as well, having his way in the paint has been so crucial. But, you know, I think especially for the Knicks, the way that Miami has been able to out-rebound in that last game, and that's something that the Knicks had prided themselves on during the regular season, you got to have that. And I think what makes the Heat even more special, Michael, to answer your question, they're doing this with undrafted guys that have had to make a name for themselves in this postseason. And it seems like the momentum is just continuing to carry the Heat way. And let's just be honest, the Heat have been one of the most fun teams to watch in the playoffs. I mean, you have to give it to them. They've been fun. You never know who's going to be that guy. But I'm believing, and I'm drinking the water that Miami is drinking, because I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. And New York Knicks fans, I'm worried for my East Coast, my East Coast brothers over here, because it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all.
Yeah, I'm definitely worried for our girl, Ashley Nicole Moss, because
Ashley, prayers.
Yeah, she's
thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious if the Knicks can even push it to get back to a game, you know, another game in Miami, only because I think if Jimmy Butler doesn't miss that game in New York, they might sweep, you know. They're like, it feels like the Heat have pretty much been in control for this series. And so, I mean, look, New York, their fans are not going to be happy with this, especially with them being the higher seeded team. But Jimmy Butler is the best player in the series. And so, you know, but the Heat are also, Kyle Lowry's veteran experience, you know, is proving to be something that matters. And in general, like, they're hitting all these threes now, and that's something that they weren't doing. And so you do have to wonder at some point if there's going to be a regression to the mean. But right now they're riding that wave, and I think they're going to ride it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So Jimmy's prediction may have just been a little premature. He thought they were going to come out of the play-in and face the Celtics first, but he may get them in the Western Conference Finals.
Or
Eastern Conference Finals. Yes.
Eastern Conference, yeah.
But,
he may.
But you know what? But okay, all right. So look, Natalie has already brought up the Celtics. I know she's interested in Celtics Philly. Really strange series. Now it's the best of 3 since it's tied at 2. We got Game 5 tonight in Boston. How do you see this series, Kelsey? And who is the most pivotal player from your perspective? Most pivotal player right now, not the best. Most pivotal player in this series?
All this series weird and wild. It's the WW, because you just don't know what you're going to get from this series. It just seems like any team can step up. But to me, I mean, this series has been dependent upon who? The Beard, James Harden. When he plays well, 76ers win. When he doesn't play well, they lose. He's given us these 40 pieces, but we need consistency. And so I think him being able to step up is going to be huge. But also, I'm putting on notice, folks, expect Jason Tatum to have a big game. I think we've been waiting for one. We know he can step up and play one. So I think James Harden is going to need to step up, but watch out for Jason Tatum, because I'm telling you all, he's due for a big game sooner than later. And that's why I'm super excited for this series. I honestly hope we go the distance in this one. I think we deserve 7 in this one, because it's been that much back and forth in this series. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I think the Celtics need to try to end it in 6. They let one slip away. And I just
They should have had it. That's right, Nat.
And I just think, now look, the Bear does not have the reputation of coming through in game 7s if it were to get there. But he's shown up now in 2 games in the clutch. But I don't know right now if you allowing Joel Embiid more time, and I don't know if he's recovering, because I'm saying that like when you're playing on an injury, you don't tend to get better. But Joel Embiid, in theory, is technically the most gifted and best player in the series. And if you allow it to get to a game, he is. I know you're not an Embiid guy, but if you
No, you said Embiid is the most gifted and the best player? Okay,
Yes.
okay. All right, good.
I mean, he just won the MVP. You're not an MVP.
I got it. No, I know. No. I admit to you. You know what I heard? You said Embiid. You know what I heard you say?
What?
I was looking at Harden.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah.
So I was thinking, it's like, you said Embiid. I heard Harden. That's my bad. You're right. Keep going.
Right, but when you look at the 2 duos, right, you have Embiid, who is the MVP, and you have James Harden, who is a former MVP, right? Meaning, like, if that Harden shows up, right, if vintage Harden shows up, a vintage Harden and an Embiid is a better duo than Tatum and Brown. And so even though you're in your building, even though you're in the Garden, you don't want to leave it to chance in a game 7 with a guy who is hungry, who wants to finally see the conference finals, so to me, it's in the Celtics' best interest. You got to go back, you got to go to the Garden and win it and go up 3-2, and you need to try to close that series out in Philly.
Yeah,
I'm called it a desperation win. Just saying.
And tell me this, Kelsey. Tell me if I'm overthinking this thing, because I've watched Joe Mazzulla all year, kind of do some things. He's done well for I don't know if this is a compliment. He's done well for a 34-year-old first-time head coach in the NBA. But I've seen a couple of games in the series where his inexperience shows. So you've talked about, Kelsey, you came on talking about heat culture. They got Eric Spoelstra. Natalie complained about Steve Kerr, some of the things that he didn't do. And here we are talking about the Sixers and Celtics in this series, and Doc Rivers, who's won a championship, versus Joe Mazzulla, who hasn't. Players win games, coaches tend to lose them. But will the importance of coaching show up in this series as well? Not just the MVPs, but the coaching mismatch. Dare I say mismatch? Do you think it will show up in this Philadelphia-Boston series?
Notice to anybody that doesn't get this, but yes, coaching matters. That's the difference between championship tier teams and regular teams. So all that to say, we've had questions, as you said, about Joe Mazzulla and some of his coaching decisions, not just in this last game, but even going back to the regular season. But all that to say, you can play devil's advocate and say it's because he trusts his players. But going back to Nat's point, had that timeout been called, maybe we would be talking about a completely different series and this being 3-1 and obviously being in favor of the Celtics. So all that to say, I do think Joe Mazzulla, he's young. Obviously, he's still getting experience. But I also think that can be a help for this team because, again, he's putting the trust on his guys. And you have to think that players, they appreciate that. They feel that. But all that to say also, you're hoping that Joe Mazzulla is calling some type of mentor and saying, hey, look, what can I do better? How can I be a better coach? Because everybody knows, I think that the Celtics should be in the Eastern Conference Finals if they are able to close out this series because they have the talent. And I think they honestly have unfinished business from last year, wanting to capitalize off how they did in the playoffs last year.
Kelsey, the mentor is the guy who hired him. It's Brad Stevens. He's in the building. He's in the building, just like
the connection must be being lost.
Right. Let me get a coffee with you. Let me just buy you lunch real quick. Let me holler at you. This is what I did. What should I do? Listen. I know we're up against clock. I just want to ask y'all, because this story just trips me out so much. Now, Natalie, I want to be careful with this. I know you're a lawyer, legal background. I want to stay out of trouble legally. So I'm going to say allegedly. Allegedly, Tiger Woods' ex says he broke up with her. He didn't even have the gall. He didn't even have the nerve to break up with her face to face. He drove her to the airport, said they were taking a weekend trip, gets to a private plane. He's like, yo, talk to my lawyer. He disappears, and the lawyer breaks up with her on behalf of Tiger, and then said, yo, you owe me some money too. You owe me $40,000. So, yo, how y'all feel? Like, is that like the worst breakup story? I mean, is that the worst breakup story y'all have ever heard? Because I think that is just awful.
I mean,
Kelsey, for me, go ahead, Nat. Go ahead.
No, you take this. You take this.
This is just messy, and I hate messiness with relationships. Now, I've never, I guess, dated anybody that high tier to be ever broken up with the lawyer, but I would feel a type of way if it didn't come from you. It's like the breakup over a text. But all that to say, my advice for Tiger Woods, and Tiger is a guy I think we all want to root for, close the DMs, put the phone on do not disturb, and just stay away from the women. Date yourself. Date yourself. Learn how to love yourself. Date yourself, because I want to focus on Charlie, and I want Charlie to be great. But instead, we keep getting all this, and we want Tiger to go back to his greatness. But you can't do that when every second you're fighting women. And after losing $110 million or however messy that last divorce was, better believe I would just be hands in pocket, and look, but don't touch. I guess that would be my advice to Tiger. Just stay away from it, and don't mix business with pleasure, folks. I can't say that enough in this instance. All right, Tiger, we wish you the best. Stay away from him, ladies.
I don't feel bad for him. He don't know how to act.
You don't feel bad for him?
No, he don't know how to act.
He don't know how to act. Kelsey,
that's what all these stories continue to tell me. He don't know how to act.
Kelsey, that's the best advice. Date yourself. Date yourself.
Date yourself. Love yourself.
There it is. Thank you, Kelsey.
Bye, guys.
Now, this is my favorite story here, Natalie. What's going on here? What's this say? Is this a dog predicting the playoffs? A Corgi?
Yes.
What's happening with the dog?
Air Corg.
So what's the dog saying?
So for this series, he actually has the Warriors in 7. He did this prior to the series started, and he had the Warriors going down 3-1 before coming back to win it.
He had the Warriors down 3-1.
Yep.
All right.
And he's predicted some other series. He doesn't always have it right down to the number, but his predictions have been largely accurate.
Did he say that Jordan Poole would play like a dog in this series?
Listen, it don't matter how it gets done. Michael, I told you off air, God sends messages in mysterious ways. So
I believe that.
Don't count out Air
Amen. Amen. Hey, listen, if that's your sermon, I'm right here. I'm in the first pew. You got it. You got an amen corner right here.
Subs and 7, baby.
That's what you think?
Air Corg said it. Air Corg said
it. Is Steve Kerr listening to Air Corg?
He needs to. He need to listen to me. He need to listen to me.
Yeah. And how about does the dog have a new starting lineup for Game 5? Thank you, Natalie. We'll see you.
Later, Michael.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.